Most people think their Wi-Fi is safe just because it has a password. Let me tell you something, it's really not. If that password is weak and someone knows what they're doing, your network is basically wide open. They can steal your bandwidth, spy on your devices, and even launch attacks, all from inside your own network. So today I'm going to show you how Wi-Fi password hacking works, step by step. Because if you don't understand how the attack works, you can't properly defend against it. Before we crack anything, we need to understand what we're actually dealing with. Not all Wi-Fi networks are built the same. Some are easy to break into, others are much harder. It all depends on the type of security the router is using. So before we get into the process, let us quickly break down the different Wi-Fi security types ULLC in the real world and which ones actually matter. First up is WP. This is an ancient and outdated security method. Think of it like locking your front door with a lock made of Lego. It can be cracked in seconds using basic tools. If you see a WEP network today, it's basically free real estate. Next is WPA. This came after WEP and tried to fix some of its flaws. It's slightly better, but it still has well-known vulnerabilities. You don't see it much anymore, but if you do, it's still fairly easy to break. Then we have WPA2, which is the most common one out there. It's the default on most modern routers and uses stronger encryption. But here's the catch. It's only secure if the password is strong. If someone sets their password to something like password 123, WPA2 might as well be wide open. This is where most real-world Wi-Fi hacking happens, and it's what we're mainly focusing on in this video. Finally, there's WPA3. This is the newest and most secure option available. It uses better encryption and a more secure key exchange process, which makes capturing handshakes much harder. The problem is that not all routers and devices support WPA3 yet. So, while adoption is growing, a huge number of networks are still running WPA2, which is why attackers continue to target it. Before we start, we need three things: the right hardware, the right tools, and a good word list. For hardware, you need a wireless adapter that supports monitor mode and packet injection. Monitor mode lets you listen to all wireless traffic around you, not just what's meant for your device. Packet injection lets you actively send packets, like authentication signals. Some built-in Wi-Fi cards support this, but many don't, so you need to verify before wasting your time. To check monitor mode support, you can use the IWList command. Look under Supported Interface Modes. If you see Monitor, you're good. To test packet injection, you can use a replay test. If the adapter receives responses, you'll see a message saying injection is working. Once the hardware is sorted, you need the right tools. We'll be using tools from the Aircrack G suite, Aerodump NG for scanning and capturing handshakes, Airplay NG for kicking clients off a network, and Aircrack NG for cracking passwords offline. But tools alone aren't enough. You also need a solid word list. Without one, you're basically guessing in the dark. A good word list massively increases your chances. If the password is something simple like I love a pizza, it'll be cracked almost instantly because these kinds of passwords exist in every major list. With the right hardware, millions of guesses per second are possible. Whenever a device connects to a WPA2 network, the router and device perform a four-way handshake to authenticate and agree on encryption keys. If you capture that handshake, you can try to crack it offline using a word list. You don't need to connect to the network. You just need to capture the handshake while it happens. To see nearby wireless traffic, we first switch our adapter from managed mode to monitor mode using Airman NG. This allows us to listen to all packets in the air. You may need to stop interfering background processes, which can temporarily disable your internet connection. Once in monitor mode, we scan for networks using Aerodump NG. This shows all networks in range along with useful details like encryption type, channel, signal strength, and connected clients. We're looking for a WPA2 network with at least one connected client and a decent signal. After selecting a target, we isolate it by specifying the access point's MAC address, channel, and an output file for captured packets. This keeps the capture clean and focused. If clients are connected, they'll appear in the station list. Now we wait for a handshake, but if no one reconnects, we don't have to wait. If a client is already connected, we can send authentication packets to disconnect them. When they reconnect, the handshake is captured automatically. Once the handshake appears, it's saved in the capture file. Now it's time to crack it. We feed that capture file into AirCrackNG along with a word list, like the well-known ROCU list. The tool tries each password, encrypts it the same way WPA2 does, and compares it to the captured handshake. If there's a match, the password is revealed. Sometimes this process is fast, sometimes it's painfully slow. It all depends on the strength of the password and the quality of your word list. So what does all this mean? Most home and small business networks still rely on WPA2, and as you've seen, it's only as strong as the password protecting it. If your router supports WPA3, upgrading is one of the smartest moves you can make. WPA3 prevents attackers from capturing handshakes and cracking them offline. Until WPA3 becomes universal, your best defense is a strong password. Make it long, random, and impossible to guess. Avoid names, dates, or anything predictable. Wi-Fi hacking isn't magic, it's a method. And anyone with the right tools and enough patience can do it. Now that you understand how the attack works, make sure your own network is ready for it.